In a bustling city surrounded by the noise of life, there lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan was an ordinary individual working a modest job, trying to make ends meet. Despite his struggles, he had one extraordinary trait. His heart was full of kindness. Ethan believed that no matter how small an act of kindness might seem, it had the power to transform someone's day, or even their life. However, he didn't know that one such act would go on to change his own life in ways he never imagined. One rainy afternoon, as Ethan walked home from work, he noticed an elderly woman sitting on a bench under a tree. She looked frail, her clothes were damp, and her hands trembled as she held onto a small, tattered bag. The sight of her struck Ethan's heart. He could tell she was cold and hungry. Most people passed by without sparing her a glance, too absorbed in their own lives, but Ethan couldn't ignore her. He approached the woman and gently asked, "Ma'am, are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman looked up, her eyes filled with both gratitude and sadness. "I've been trying to get to the shelter, but it's too far, and I haven't eaten since yesterday," she replied weakly. Without hesitation, Ethan offered her his umbrella and helped her to a nearby cafe. He ordered a hot meal for her and sat with her while she ate. As she ate, the woman began to open up. Her name was Margaret, and she had lost her home after a series of unfortunate events. Despite her hardships, she expressed a deep sense of gratitude for Ethan's kindness. Ethan listened intently, offering her words of encouragement. Before leaving, he gave her enough money to cover her stay at the shelter for a week. When Margaret tried to refuse, Ethan simply smiled and said, "Everyone deserves a little kindness, especially when times are tough." Days turned into weeks, and Ethan continued with his life, almost forgetting about the encounter. Then, one day, he received an unexpected letter. It was from Margaret. In the letter, she wrote about how Ethan's act of kindness had been a turning point for her. With the shelter as a starting point, she had managed to find a part-time job and was now on her way to rebuilding her life. "Your kindness gave me hope when I had none," she wrote. "I will never forget what you did for me." But the story didn't end there. A few months later, Ethan faced challenges of his own. His company announced layoffs, and he was among those who lost their jobs. Times became tough for him, and he struggled to find stability. One afternoon, while job hunting, Ethan was called into an interview at a local nonprofit organization. To his surprise, the person conducting the interview was Margaret. She had been promoted to a managerial position at the nonprofit and was now in charge of hiring. Recognizing Ethan immediately, Margaret smiled warmly and said, "Ethan, I never thought I'd get the chance to repay your kindness. You changed my life when I had nothing. Now it's my turn to help you." Ethan was offered the job on the spot, not just because of Margaret's gratitude, but also because his selfless nature made him the perfect fit for the organization's mission. Kindness has a way of coming full circle. What Ethan gave to Margaret in her time of need returned to him when he needed it most. His simple, selfless act not only changed her life, but also created a ripple effect that transformed his own. Kindness is a gift we all can give. It doesn't have to be grand or expensive. Sometimes, a small gesture, a listening ear, or a helping hand can create a profound impact. Remember, the kindness you give to the world has a way of finding its way back to you, often when you least expect it. So be kind. You never know whose life you might change, or how they might one day change yours.